How you doing, YouTube? It's Will from Will Development. It's my 349th weekly update. Really good training this week. I know a few weeks back I was dealing with that weird lat thing I had going on. And although it didn't really slow me down, it was definitely a mental thing for sure, where it was sort of mentally taxing me a little bit, just being in the pain from it on occasion. Seems like it's gone. I really don't feel it much, and honestly, I think I've talked about it before in the past, where I've talked about certain injuries, which includes my back and hip issues I had for a while there. But honestly, a lot of times pain just kind of goes away just by moving, and then you sort of need to reintroduce whatever movement was causing that pain and just kind of push it just a little bit each time. This isn't advice, by the way. This is just kind of what I do and what I did when I was dealing, and when I do deal with pain. That's sort of my protocol for I don't know, I guess the word is dealing with it, or recovering from it, I guess. Now, on the hip and back thing specifically, I had to do a lot of work to change my squat stance and things like that, and change my style of squatting. And honestly, it's probably better for me anyway. I can squat with the new stance that I take, low bar, no problem, but I also switched over to high bar too, just because I think it transfers a little bit better over to strongman. Now, that being said, when I get my squat back to sort of where I want it to be, which is, high bar squatting, like 350 for reps, then at that point I'll probably be like, okay, now I'll start working, basically this day I do low bar, that day I do high bar, changing it up, doing a little more variety, because variety is always a generally good thing. Moving forward, that'll be the plan, but that's once I finally get there, which I am getting closer to doing. I think I talked about it a few weeks ago. I managed to hit 330 high bar, which I believe is a PR for a high bar squat for me. And that was when my lat was really bad. And honestly, the worst part about that squat was it didn't even really feel that tough necessarily. It was just so much pain from that stupid lat that it was like a distracting pain, to the point where it was like, man, I could probably do more, but I just don't know if I can deal with this pain while I'm going down into the squat and then coming back out of it. I just don't know if I could deal with it, so I just called it there and said no point pushing it and failing a rep and sort of messing up my mentality there. So I'm getting close to it. Like I said, I was 290 for 3 the other day, and honestly, it felt good. It wasn't like, I felt like I had a couple more in me, but it was just, the plan was to hit 3 that day, and I was like, you know what, and when I say 2 more, I mean that would have been like it. If I went for 6, it wouldn't have happened, but I feel like I could have done 290 for 5. But that's where I'm at with sort of squatting and things like that. I'm pushing it as hard as possible in that sort of 2 reps in reserve range sort of deal. When it comes to the heavier days, and just a slow and steady thing. I'm not rushing anything. I'm not risking hurting the hip again when I'm this close to being strong again, and so that's the plan moving forward, and that's where I'm at with it. But like I started to say, the training this week went well. This is 10 years from now, I'm assuming I'm going to still be doing these videos and doing this log, assuming YouTube even exists at that point, but hopefully whatever platform takes it over, or whatever platform it gets moved over to, we'll be looking back on these videos and realize the monotony of training is just reality, and you're not going to be hitting PRs every week, and there's going to be weeks like this week and even last week and the week before it where it was just kind of just doing the work, just slowly building up to a heavier number and then going back down and then slowly building up and then going back down and slowly building up. It's like this, but it's like up and then it's not linear. It's not a straight line to the top. It's you start here and then you drop down a little bit and then you go up again. You go up again and then you go here and then you drop and then you go up and then down but it's always slowly building up, you know. You're just building a base that allows you to build a higher peak, just like mountains. And that's the monotony of training, honestly. That's just what it is. And that's where I'm at right now. It's just putting in the work, sticking to a program. Didn't miss any reps this week. Everything I had planned, I hit. The one I felt the greatest about was on log. I think I talked about how I got a new log. It's a wooden one. It's awesome. Weighs 190 pounds, which is like pretty much my max on log anyway. And working towards basically being able to do that one. And right now I've just been doing strict pressing on log. And the only reason I've been doing strict pressing on log is because I do so much push pressing during the week with the axle, and if I'm training, doing event training with the, what do you call that? Viking press, which I will be doing tomorrow. I want to make sure there's a static, strict movement of pressing that I'm doing, and so I choose to do it on the log. Because it's also an implement that I should be training with and getting sort of comfortable with also. Now, when I get to the point where I can actually do 200 consistently on the log, then I'll probably start working on my push pressing with it and getting my abilities there better. Because right now my push pressing and even my jerk on the axle has gotten a lot better. Which is awesome. It's a great place to be. And so that's what it is, just monotony of training right now, just leading up to the Europa I'm not taking necessarily seriously. And that's not to say, you know, every competition I take with a bit of seriousness, but going to the Europa specifically, just because it's a 220 and under, and I'm going to be weighing in the day before... For the record breakers, I'm weighing in at 181 for that, so it's just like, even if I wanted to put on weight right now, I really can't. Right now, and I have put on just a touch recently. I've been kind of walking around 187-ish this week, which normally I walk around 185. So, I mean, we're talking 2 pounds, but it's about the consistency of it throughout the weeks. And I'll probably shed that over the weekend and go back to 185 as my consistent sort of actual weight. But yeah, just going into this, it's like, look, I'm sacrificing, 40 pounds of weight to a lot of the guys that are going to be there, because some guys are cutting down to 220, the day before, just with a water cut or whatever, or the week before, I should say. So like I said, it's not that I'm not taking it seriously, it's just I have realistic expectations going in, and the fact of the matter is, there's going to be guys there that are 40 pounds heavier than me, and that's a lot of advantage, especially with some of the events that are going to be there. And I understand from a promoter standpoint it's challenging to pick a weight that's hard enough for the guys that are actually weighing 220, but light enough for the guys who don't weigh 220 to actually handle. Do I wish they maybe had a 200 class at it? Sure, I would have entered that if they had that. Especially if they had a 181 class at this show, but most shows do not have a 181 class. So it is what it is. So going into that show, I'm not, like I said, it's not that I'm not taking it seriously, it's just, I'm realistic. I will have a very tough time keeping up with some of the guys giving up a lot more weight in that show. Now, the Scorcher, on the other hand, that show I'm taking pretty seriously. I've got, I think, a month before the Europa. So, yeah, about 4 weeks. So 2 weeks from now, I'm going to start actually throwing some event training for the Scorcher in. I've already been doing stones because I've got stones at both comps. Um, but I'll start throwing in the circus dumbbell more. I've already been doing axle, which both comps have too. But I'll start throwing in more circus dumbbells since the Scorcher does have a circus dumbbell. And it'd be nice to get a rep on both of those at the Scorcher. That'd be cool. And then there's like what do they call it? A sled drag with no front rope. So I've definitely got to touch that. I've never done exactly that. And then, like I said, they've got stones, stupid heavy yoke. So I'll have to throw that back in. I haven't trained yoke basically since Miami's. I say stupid heavy. I think it's 700 pounds, which is not, honestly, that's not too terrible in my opinion for a 175. It's heavy, but it's nothing. But it's no drop, so I have to make sure I pick my yoke height right and just slow and steady and not drop it. So that's where I'm at with that. But yeah, just monotonous training during the week, and just enjoying the process of slowly building up and getting stronger, and looking forward to putting on a good performance at the Europa and the Scorcher. Even if I don't win, even if I don't place too well at the Europa, which is a definite possibility, I would like to at least put on a good performance. It'd be nice to not zero anything, but we'll see. That stone is heavy too. It's 275 at the show, so we'll see what I can do day of. I'm not going to make myself any promises. Yeah. Looking forward to it, though. Looking forward to both of them. And just enjoying the monotony of training. If you don't enjoy the monotony of training, then what's your excuse?